Green Lanterns number 41. Tim Seeley writing, Barnaby Bajenda on the art. So superhuman trafficking, continuing with that. We get a little flashback at the start with Simon and Night Pilot's like date, and like how, you know, why he kind of he's into her. But we've got so we've got them going with a criminal to this planet, which has another name, but the end like everyone just calls it Hellworld, and
Hellhole.
or Hellhole. There you go.
Yeah.
I know it was Vegas something, because they at one point they said, "Oh, we'll get the vegan police," but it just looked like vegan police, and I just thought of Scott Pilgrim.
I can I can see that. So it's basically a planet that crime is kind of like the law. Like there's no like crime is the system, it's the economy. Like people like. But honestly, the thing that maybe cracked me up most in this, well, was like a chase scene going on later on. There's like one of those big like hologram, like sort of like advertisements from like Blade Runner, like in the city, just be like, hey, if you murder someone, call us to clean up the body, no questions asked, because murder should be clean. And that really cracked me up. I don't know. That's my sense of humor, I guess.
So I did some digging because this involves like a thread from the Omega Men.
Yeah, scraps the criminal they've got from Omega Men, and it makes it sounds like this big like church they're hinting at the end is also from Omega Men. That's what I'm getting from the story. But
yeah, and so you know we know that Seeley and King work well together, you know from their time on Grayson, and then King had written Omega Men, so I did some digging, and even the artist Bagenda did Omega Men. So this is almost like a reunion of sorts. So now it made me want to check out the Omega Men to see what all that was about. Because if it's set in this, you know, where crime's all kind of the way that society is set up, and then you introduce Kyle Rayner into that, I think that's super interesting. And now you're throwing in the Green Lanterns even more.
Well,
to it.
Here's what I want to mention. So they go to this planet and they disguise themselves as these like, I don't know, mercenaries, bounty hunters, whatever they are. And their names, so Jessica is disguised, and we're using the disguising technology here, by the way, so that's fully in now.
Just while we're on that, there's a throwaway line where Jessica says, "Yo, I've only been making constructs like a really short time, and now I'm expected to do this." I'm like, you know, it feels like you've been confident with your constructs for a while now. Like,
Well, I'm not liking this disguising tech just out of nowhere. Either. Because I feel like the Green Lantern energy should always be green. You know, so even if you could disguise, you'd have a green twinge.
Even when when they make the bodies at the end for the other people, they're still bright green bodies. It's like you wanted them to look realistic. You should have done made them like disguised bodies, but no.
Yeah. So
I concur with that. I do like the panel though where the construct, she actually peeks through it and you can see her eyes, her real eyes through the construct. Actually, that's a funny little panel, but I generally concur. It's kind of like how I don't like when they make something that actually produces something, like a flamethrower actually produces a flame. Like at least make it a green flame, but no, it's producing real fire. That bugs the shit out of me. But hey, so anyway, back to the important part that I was getting to. So Jessica is disguised as someone named Baba Fatish, and then Dorgus Brick is who Baz is disguised as. So these are reject Star Wars names, is basically how I'm putting them. And so they try and pretend to be criminals, and they basically get caught out because someone swipes someone else on a dating app from across the universe.
They see Fatish, the real Fatish, tag herself. It's somewhere on a different planet.
So,
which I thought that was pretty funny. Because in the age of social media, that's something that can happen.
Oh, absolutely, You can cut in a lie because you're the real person's checking in. There's some fun stuff where just because they keep calling them the piggies because they're like cops, and it's like this piggy's had enough, and she makes a giant like boar to chase them down.
Cool.
So there's some fun stuff. I like the action sequence with the chasing. Like I say, I like the hologram adverts in the background and stuff. And they basically track them down and like, hey, we'll make you a deal. You make it look like we've killed some Green Lanterns, and we'll tell you the information you want, where you want to go. And that's the gist of the kind of what their issue is. But it's amusing. It's amusing all the same. And meanwhile, we see Night Pilot is shipped off to this church.
Order of the Steed.
Order of the Steed. That's it right there. Yeah. And that's a big kind of cliffhanger. That's where she is. But the Lanterns seem to be on their way there too. So
yeah, this religious order seemed to be behind, you know,
the bad stuff.
Yeah, everything that we've been seeing for this arc.
Yeah, so I enjoyed this show quite a bit.
I'm enjoying it. I will say I am feeling like I'm suffering for not having read Omega Men.
And that's my long diatribe was, I like this world, but I feel like it's very reliant on the Omega Men and having a small familiarity with it.
I think...
Not that it's bad, because I still am liking what I'm reading, because it feels like this whole lived-in world, but yeah.
It's kind of just in the back of my mind when I'm reading it going, I feel like I should have read that for some of this.
I'm not having too much of that problem. I feel like, I'm getting the sense that, okay, a lot of this stuff would maybe be cooler if I knew what these characters were.
It was the same as that the arc on Nightwing, where it was like, okay, you probably should have read Grayson for this arc.
Yeah. Although having someone who's not really read much of Grayson and has not read Omega Men, I had more of a problem with that Nightwing arc, I think, than I do this.
As at the moment, I agree that lent into it even more than this has, but I feel like this could go deeper into it.
Because I think so far, at least, this is treating it like it's assuming the audience probably don't know what these things are, and it's just kind of like, it's making it clear. Okay, so we're going to this planet. This is the rules. This church we're setting up as the villain.
Story was a de facto Grayson finale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was way more kind of like
I just
alienating.
think it's curious that Seeley. I don't know if they're asking him to do this or he's doing it on his own, but he seems to like to tie it back into these other stories, which is cool. I mean, it adds to a greater continuity.
I think
it's probably something he's choosing. It's very, Johns Morrison.
I also think the reason why he's intentionally making this one less alienating for people who have not read it is he's probably assuming that less people actually read Omega Men, and he's making sure it's more, friendly to people who didn't read that.
I think it's a reasonable assumption.
So I'm still having fun, and just one final point. I like how at one point when they're disguised, there's a joke about, are you two having sex, and it just makes Jess feel awkward because of the whole dating app thing from last issue. She's like, no, that's going on. Nothing happened.
Which is still popping up in this issue. She's still staring at it, and Simon's like, hey, you found someone yet?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a running joke, and I think it will end at the end of the arc with her kind of admitting, and he'll just kind of laugh it off and be like, don't be silly, stop. I feel like it's going to end in a joke.
No, I will think that they'll go on a date just to be like, well, okay, it's saying that we should, so they'll do.
I still think they match because they're close because they're partners.
Yeah,
they're not.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily romantic. It could be platonic.
Yeah, I think no matter what, ultimately, I feel like the ending of this is going to be realizing that no, we are platonic. Let's not do any of this. At least that's my hope anyway. But it feels like it's playing it for a joke more than it is like, actually setting up a romantic thing.